Hi everybody, welcome back. I'm joined today again in the studio by
Michael. Hey everybody.
And today we're going to be talking about our favorite English that we use without even thinking about it. So these are things that we just say. We say just so often and they come really, really naturally to us. So that might be kind of helpful for you to hear about some of the things that we like to say. So I guess I'll start us off for this one.
Go ahead.
The first one that I've picked, I think I picked really simple phrases this time around. The first one that I've chosen is the phrase, I know. I know. I like to use this to agree with my friends a lot. So if my friend gives me some kind of interesting information, I go, I know, or I know, or something just to show that I'm listening to them and that I agree. It doesn't necessarily mean that I'm already, I don't know, like I've learned the information or something like that. It's an agreement phrase that I like to use with my friends. Is this something that, yeah?
Yeah. That's funny you said that, because before you explained like the tone and gave an example of how you say it, I thought of it on the opposite side. To me, it sounded like a kid who's just like, I know, mom. Giving them like, you need to do this and this and this. I know. I'm trying to think, do men, I mean, these are gender roles. You can say whatever you want, but I'm trying to think. I know. Yeah. I don't know if I've ever said it like that.
Really?
I'm sorry.
Maybe it is a gender thing. Maybe it's more common among women than it is among men. But I feel like maybe it's just in a movie, or maybe it's because of where I'm from, that people will say, like, if you watch the last video, for example, dude, I know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but your point about kids saying that is so funny. Like when you get in trouble, I know, saying it like that, it has a different meaning. It's another exercise in intonation, maybe, this word, I know, or this phrase rather. Okay, cool. So there's one. What's your first one?
So my first word is not really a word. It's spelled a couple different ways, is psh. Psh. So this is something I didn't realize that I do a lot or say a lot or whatever, but it's it's a sound that English speakers make that shows disapproval. So, I don't know. Like, okay, for example, the kid who's talking to a parent, and then the parent says, you need to do your homework. I know. But no, seriously, you need to get into a good Psh, mom, whatever.
Yeah.
So maybe the same as like whatever. Psh.
Yeah, psh is good. There are a lot of variations on psh. Whenever you don't want to hear what the other person is saying, you can use psh. Or I see another one that I like to use, PFFFFT. That one's harder to say, though. It's not so natural, but I think psh is good. Any sort of p kind of sound, or nah, just any sort of just nonsensical phrase said like that means I don't want to listen to what you're saying. Yeah, that's a great one. That's a great one. I use that all the time too. Oh, I wish
I didn't use it as much as I did, but
I suppose so. I see what you mean. Okay. All right. Well, onward, I guess. My next word is anyway. Anyway, I like to use to transition between two things, to transition between ideas. I also like to use it when I've been talking for way too long and I need to make an exit from the conversation. Usually I use anyway with kind of a ... at the end, like anyway. And I don't finish saying anything after that. It's just sort of my little sidle out of the conversation.
Yeah. Anyway. So I use this word a lot, actually. I'm glad you said that. Actually, some of my students asked me, they said, what are some good words that connect two ideas or something like that, like a beginning, like first, second, these kinds of words. And I noticed, and I never noticed this before, it actually relates to this question, that a lot of the things that you look up that are transition words, we don't ever use in speech. It doesn't sound natural, but you have to use synonyms, you have to switch it up if you're writing.
Yeah.
Speaking, I say anyway almost every other sentence.
Really?
Maybe I do it too much. Well, not that much, but a lot. I realize that even typing, even business emails, I say it all of the time. Like, it's kind of like, well, anyway.
Yeah.
Maybe because I go on tangents a lot. So for me, I use it not as much as the anyway, ... I usually do the anyway, back to what I was saying, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's a good point about it being used for transitions. So a lot of my students are the same way. They'll pick like a really, really formal, almost businessy term to use to transition in their speech, and it doesn't really sound so natural. But something like anyway, or like you said, well, or so is much better to use in conversation, I think. Cool. Okay. Anyway.
Seriously. So seriously, this is another one. Always the intonation. This is our thing is intonation, I guess. But seriously can be said in a lot of different ways. For me, maybe the most common is the same as when you say really. Just kind of like, seriously? Like, did that actually happen? No way, really?
Yeah.
Anytime you go up like that, it's a rhetorical question. You don't actually want an answer. Just like, wow, same thing as wow. And then there's also when someone does something stupid and you just look and seriously? Yeah. But that's less common. That's, kind of
Really?
Seriously?
No, really. I mean, I use it the way that you just described it to like if I see, I don't know, somebody is walking on the street in front of me and maybe they stop and they don't have any consideration for the people behind them on the street. I might go, seriously?
Maybe you're right.
Whenever, like, is this really happening? Did you just make this decision? Maybe I use it when I'm talking to myself more. Not so much, I don't necessarily verbalize.
Yeah, those are fighting words.
Yeah.
Those are fighting words.
Yeah.
So, no, you're right. I think maybe driving, same thing.
Yeah, road rage.
Seriously? Or, I mean, are you kidding me? Well, I don't want to say the bad version of it, but this is what I'm thinking when I'm driving. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
You're right. But it's usually to yourself, because otherwise it's pretty aggressive.
That's true, yeah. So don't say it to the other person. But yeah, you're right in terms of when you're talking to your friends and you want to ask, did that really happen to you? Seriously? Yeah, it's super useful. Okay. Is it my turn again? Okay, last one for me. My last one is one I use all the time in a number of situations. I've chosen I don't know. This is great for, of course, when you don't know the answer to something. But I think when you don't know the answer to something like a math question or whatever, it's better to say I don't know. But when you use the contracted dunno form of don't know, it just shows kind of that it's not a serious issue. It's not something you're overly concerned with. You're just, I don't know. I don't have an answer. I don't have an idea. It's kind of like saying, what do you think? Or just, this is all I've got, So I don't know. Do you use this? That's how I use it.
No, that's a really good one. The same thing as anyway. I type this a lot. I say IDK, which is the acronym for it. I would never say IDK out loud. Don't say IDK. That sounds kind of stupid. I'm sorry, in my opinion. But you say I don't know. I don't know. I say that all the time because I think it's just a nice way to be humble, really. Because maybe you do know or you think you know, but it's a nice way to be like, I'm not sure, what do you think? It's a nice, it tones down your tone. You don't sound as authoritative as aggressive. You say, I don't know, do you want to eat Chinese food tonight?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, we can eat whatever you want. What do you think?
Yeah, it's like a really nice softener like that. If you want to introduce, like an offer, if you have an idea about something, but you're not sure how the other person feels, you can just say, I don't know, what do you want to do? I don't know, what do you want to do?
But that's usually the thing that they say, I don't know, what do you want to do? I don't know, what do you want to do? Okay, just make a decision. We're going to go to YouTube and we're going to watch some videos at EnglishClass101.com.
Wow, nice.
Okay, anyway.
Okay, so that's some English that we use without thinking about it all the time. I think that they're pretty useful phrases and they're a little bit fun too. If you have some English that you like to use from time to time or that you just find comes out of your mouth without thinking about it, please leave us a comment and let us know what it is. And
yeah, so also this is a tough one because if you use it without thinking about it, it's hard for us to realize what those words are. So if there are any words you hear English people say and you're curious, also leave that in a comment any way you can. And anyway, I think that's about all we have. Anything else?
I think that's all. So give them a try and we will see you again next time when we have more fun stuff to talk about. Thank you. Bye.